Good morning, students and staff. This is the first video in a series called 5 Days to Safer, Happier, Healthier Hallways. These videos are designed to help students and staff at Heart of the Lakes understand exactly what is okay in our hallways and what is not okay in our hallways. This year at Heart of the Lakes, we've been trying to offer students lots of different ways to move their bodies in the hallway when transitioning from one place to another. The reason for this is that the adults studied some research over the summer, and we're thinking a lot about the fact that science tells us that the more kids can move their bodies, the more healthy they'll be and the more ready for learning their brains will be. But anytime you try something new, it takes some time to figure out exactly what works and what doesn't work. And over the course of the last couple of weeks, the adults have been talking about some things that are working well and some things that we need to improve on. So this video is going to help us to all get on the same page in our hallways so that we can have safe, happy, healthy hallways at Heart of the Lakes School. Okay, so the first agreement that we're going to talk about today is the agreement that in our hallways, everybody is going to walk on the right-hand side. If you think right now about which hand is your right hand, when you're walking in the hallway, your right hand is going to be near the wall. Please keep your hands off the walls and the artwork, but walk with your hand near the wall. If I'm headed this direction, I'm going to be by this wall. If I'm headed the opposite direction, I'm going to have to go over by the other wall. So, the agreement is students at Heart of the Lakes and adults walk on the right-hand side of the hallway. My suggestion for this week is that each morning, if you're not sure which side right is, you just make a little dot on your hand. And then when you're in the hallway, think about matching that dot to the closest wall, or lockers sometimes rather than a wall. Okay? The adults in our building agree to work to teach students which is the right-hand side and make sure that they understand how to figure out which wall to be closest to. The next agreement I'm going to talk about is the agreement to use conversational voices in the hallways at Heart of the Lakes rather than shouting, yelling, or really loud voices. This is a really important, this is an important agreement. This is an agreement that when you follow it, it's a really good way to show respect for all of the other learners at Heart of the Lakes School. And when you don't honor this agreement, you are really showing a lack of respect for other learners at Heart of the Lakes School. So use a conversational voice when you're in the hallway. No yelling, no shouting. Sometimes we refer to it as a one-foot voice. That means that people who are close to you, that person you're walking with or in a small group with you, they can hear what you're saying, but the people across the hall or down the hall can't hear you. And that's what we want. We want kids to have chances to talk to each other, but yelling is not an okay thing in the hallways at Heart of the Lakes. So let's all be respectful of each other and the learning that's going on around our building and use conversational voices in the hallway. The next guideline I'm going to talk about has to do with how we move around the school at Heart of the Lakes Elementary School. And I'm going to start with the easiest one. Running is never okay at Heart of the Lakes. No running in our hallways. Say it with me. No running in our hallways. One more time. No running in our hallways. This is an easy one to remember. It's the same for all ages, for all people. No running in our hallways. I think you've got it. although we do not allow running in the halls at Heart of the Lake School, we are allowing some other movement types this year in our hallways. And so part of the no running agreement is that the adults in the school agree to really learn and understand the other movement types that are available, and that varies somewhat from grade to grade. And students agree to learn the difference between running and the other kinds of movements that are okay. For example, speed walking. We've all been learning about speed walking this year at Heart of the Lakes, and there are some really important differences between running and speed walking. When I'm speed walking, my shoulders stay level. When I'm running, my shoulders are bouncing up and down. When I'm speed walking, I always have one foot on the ground. When I'm running, there are times when I don't have any feet on the ground. So that's just one example, and we're going to look at examples of different ways of movement throughout the week. But for today, I just want you to know that there are differences from grade level to grade level, and the adults need to really learn that so that kids within a grade level are clear in case they see, for instance, kindergarten, first and second grade students are going to continue to have the option to skip and gallop and speed walk if they need to during individual transition times. And that will be different at third and fourth grade. They're going to choose to just have speed walking with a pass during individual transition times. So we're going to work through that together, but there's some learning that we all have to commit to doing here to really understand the differences between different kinds of movement and what's okay from grade level to grade level.